Bonjour mes amis JC, je suis Daniel et je suis de l'Indonésie et parce que ça, je ne peux pas parler français et car ça, je vais continuer en anglais. So, please apologize, my French is really terrible. I'm Daniel and I am the project manager of the current JCIS web project. And we've gotten a lot done so far since the beginning of the year. And I'm really proud to present to you what we're going to be doing today. And we're going to look at what your LOM websites are going to do within the next few months. The agenda is I need to give you a background of what's been happening, of how we came to where we are, and what the situation looks like today, and the solution, and why we built it that way. Then I would also like to review with you the goals of a LOM website, because they're not the same as an intranet or as the JCIS website. This is for your LOM. Then we will review the screen design, so you understand why we did some things. And at the very end, we're going to look at what you need to do so that your LOM will have a website, a brand new website, at the end of this year. And we'll also look at some timing questions. The goals are that you understand why we're doing this, that you understand how we're doing this, and that I supply you with everything that you need to get going and to make sure that your LOM will have a website by the end of the year. So let's just get going. We're first going to review the history and how we got to where we are. And you have to see this is our current Swiss website, and this is also the website your LOM has more or less. And basically what we have here is it's kind of a jack of all trades. It's something that kind of does everything. But not too well. I actually even prefer the German word for it, which is eierlegende Wollmilchsau. There's no real English word for this, but you get the picture. It kind of does everything, with the only difference that this picture looks like it's a good thing. In reality, we're now not too happy about it. The website should do marketing for us because it has to represent us towards outside, towards sponsors, towards partners, towards potential JCs. And that it does terribly, appallingly. I mean, I'm always ashamed to tell people, go to the website, there you'll know more about what we're doing, so I don't even send them there. Then, the second thing it should do is it should coordinate what we're doing together. Our membership profiles that I can find you, events, registrations of events, and that it actually does pretty well. Pretty well, really. But in the background, there's even more. There's like an administrative part, like that the central secretary needs to like send bills to the LOMs. It has some kind of statistic things and like exports for sending the paper newsletter. And all these things are kind of built into one big thing, and it's like this monster that you can't replace. There is no Ersatzmonster for this. There just is no such thing, because there is no standard product that will ever replace this. And the reason why this actually happened is, I mean, probably about 10 years ago or so, somebody made this with a lot of fun and probably invested a lot of free time. But with time, it got better and better, and things were added and things were added, and in the end you had this kind of an Escher thing that just wasn't good. And the way these things are like interrelated makes it impossible to take it apart. Let's just make an example. If you have an event and you want to send your LOM an email about this event, you'll typically click on the event and then say, I want to make an email. And everybody that's tried this probably has realized the page doesn't quite load properly. And then I can maybe send it to everybody. But if I ever try to send it to only the ones that haven't registered yet, things kind of go funky. You don't really know what will happen. Now, you might think, no problem, just fix it, but it's all entangled. If we fix this, it might have a side effect on the directory. It might also have a side effect on the LOM presidents, who would have to be informed. So there's these 70 people that need to be informed because we're fixing something, and at the same time, it's not quite clear who's actually paying for it, and the side effects it'll have on everything else. So there's a lot of coordination necessary to fix something which should actually be trivial. And by the end we figured everything out, the year's basically over. And this is a really big core problem that's not technical in itself, but it's an organization thing. And in addition to that, this thing becomes incredibly expensive. The estimate you see here is very, very realistic. To replace the system with real money, we'd need about 150K. And this is not a joke. And everybody that knows and that was at the National Congress last year, I mean, we got 25K to do this. And it's not really possible unless a lot of people just work for free for the value that you see there. And the only reason why we finally got it so far is because basically I sponsored more than 1 month of my work, and I'm sponsoring my team in addition to that. So actually we're kind of sponsoring like almost half of the project. Then Janine Studach from Pink Lemon designed everything for free, so she worked quite a lot too for that. And the intranet, something I'll just touch on a moment later, is done by Comvation, and they're also sponsoring a lot of what they're doing. So without this, it would actually be completely impossible to pay for this. It's just way too complex. Now, you might wonder why I'm telling you this. The reason's pretty simple. There's a lot of people working for free here, and the new solution will be better, much better, but maybe you'll be missing something. So please, be nice, ask, hope that it comes in next year maybe. But we can't get everything working perfectly for this budget, but we're getting very, very close, and I'm sure you'll love it. So let's continue. The solution that we need to approach now is we have to disentangle this stuff. So we have one big monster that kind of does everything, but not very well. So we have to separate the things. And it's important to understand that we're not going to separate it in a technical way, because that may be what you think is what we need. It isn't. Separating it technically may make you think, okay, this is this technology like PDF or images or whatever, and maybe it gets cheaper that way. But it's wrong, because the real problem isn't technology. The real problem is organization, that we have too many things that work together, that have too many people that are affected by changes, and that need too much coordination to get that working. So we are going a different way. We're disentangling this the way people work. So what you'll see here, let me show you the mouse, is we have a core system called the intranet. This is where we work. So this is where I have my profile, where I look for you when I need your phone number in the directory. This is also, by the way, where you'll have all the events from all the LOMs all over Switzerland. And this is where you will be registering, where you have your documents, where you have the newsletter. The tool system is here. And this is closed. So if I register to an event, Google will not know that. Okay? This is a closed system. At the same time, we have public websites, like the website of JCIS Switzerland. This website is public. It has a marketing focus. And that also means it may actually get changed every 3 or 4 years. And here's already the first place where you have to say we need to make a cut, because a marketing website needs regular updates. It needs to look cool. It needs to look modern. You know, mobile support would be kind of nice. But a tool like an intranet doesn't have the same frequency or update cycle. So this way, if in 3 years we think we need a new design, no problem, we can do it, because we don't have to update the intranet, just the website. Okay? Now, we continue. The Senate, of course, will get a website. The Foundation will get a website. And your LOM will also get a website. This is this part here. Okay? The LOM website, same thing. It has a marketing focus. So this is public-facing. It has to look nice, but it doesn't need to contain all the technicalities of an intranet. It's not a tool. It's a marketing instrument. And we, of course, also have all these websites which already exist today. Like my LOM, Liechtenstein-Württemberg, has a social event, the Benefits, where we always collect all these a lot of money for Africa, has an own website. That's okay. The golf event has an own website. That's okay. And the great thing is, though, these will be more connected to the intranet than they were so far, and we'll just see how that works in a moment. So this is how we've built the new construct. And, oh yeah, interlude. I'm going to introduce myself. I like doing this in the middle after I've already kind of like a commercial break. This is me. as I already said, I grew up in the jungle of Indonesia. That's not a joke. My parents were missionaries down there, and they had computers for Bible translation. So we would be sending these truck batteries with the motorboat down to the city, and they would recharge it and send the batteries back. We would attach it to the computer, and my parents would do Bible translation with that. And when I turned 12, I started programming because I wanted to make computer games. Well, that didn't turn out too well, but when I came to Switzerland in 1994, I learned German. French didn't quite stick. And a few years later, I made my own internet company. So I've been at JCIS since 2006, and I'm here in the eastern part of Switzerland. This is my team, by the way. Yeah, most of them have been here quite a long time. This is my team. We make websites and SharePoint solutions. And yeah, almost all of it is like Microsoft-based. So that's what we do, what I do. Some famous customers or projects, for example, you probably know the Tageskarte Gemeinde, or let me just delete that for a second. Ricardo, for example, we've done a lot for him, and Oerlikon, Hügli, Intamin. Intamin you may not know, but these make the coolest roller coasters all over the world. They're right here in Liechtenstein, so yeah, close by. And the Tageskarte system, which you just saw a moment ago. So this is what we do. Okay, but back to you. Your LOM websites, just so we kind of see what it's all about. Here, the core goals of your websites is to communicate what you do to the outer world. It's not for bragging to other JCs what you do. Your LOM website is for people around you, for people in your community, for organizations around you. It's for sponsors, and especially for potential candidates. It should actually really show what you guys do. So don't put pictures on it of what happens internationally when somebody else does something. Put pictures on it of what you do. It has to look great. It has to make candidates want to be in your cool club. And it just presents what you do. It also shows the next events of your club, of your LOM. It'll also have links to other websites related to your LOM. And of course, it may have like picture galleries of cool events and things like that. As opposed to that, the intranet does all these things you see right here. We already mentioned this before. And this also means one important thing. Your members do not need a login for your LOM website, because there's nothing there to log in for. All the technical stuff, registration for events and things like that, happens on the intranet. So your LOM website can stay clean of all the technical stuff. It's just a marketing instrument and just for whatever you need. So one of the questions you'll have next is, how in the world are these even connected, or are these two completely different systems? And we found a solution which really should work very, very well for everybody. This is a mock-up, that's a technical term for doodling, more or less, of the website. So you'll see we have something like a nice picture swapper up here, we have navigation, we have hello statements and things like that. And down here, this part here is actually the part that comes out of the intranet. So on your home page, the home page is the start page, by the way, everything else is the website, the home page is just the front page. On your home page, the bottom part comes from the intranet. And it'll show the next events for your LOM, and it'll show the sponsors. For us, it was extremely important to package these things together because we really need our sponsors. Without them, we would just be running out of money all the time. And on the other side, it's kind of hard to really give them a good value, because it's always hard to say, you know, we have 2,000 members, but they don't want you to call them, right? So one of the main values we can give our sponsors is visibility. Visibility because they are great companies supporting us. So thank you for doing this. And that kind of stuff. And the only way we can really do this is on all the websites of our LOMs. So we're bundling the events and the sponsors together, and this should be no problem for anybody who makes a website. And this way, you can contribute your part to like keeping our sponsors happy, and at the same time, you get your events on your home page, even though you manage them on the intranet. When a member then clicks on an event, say here, there will be something so that he sees the details of the event still on your website. But of course, he might see how many people registered, but he will not see who registered here. That's secret, right? So far, things like that have happened. Google has indexed who was at what event. Not good. This is the official public part. This has no names, nothing. Okay? And what will happen is if somebody says they do want to register, then that will switch over to the intranet. So here we have a clean cut, okay? The part comes from the intranet, the registration is in the intranet, and the rest is your website. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Okay, so let's look at the design. I've prepared a live demo because my chamber, LOM Liechtenstein Württemberg, already prepared everything. So, what you see here, let me just make that a tad bigger, is the new look of the JCI Switzerland websites, all of them. What you see up here is a picture rotator. This is demo content, okay, so please don't bug me if something looks nasty or if all the pictures have me in it. This is where you will have the pictures of your LOM doing great things in your community or whatever. Things that you guys like to do, things that make you, you. With cool slogans and nice fonts, just showing things that you do. This is the new look. Facebook integration, all these things. Plus, of course, like the map back here, we've included some elements to make it look a lot closer to the international way the websites look. So that's, for example, why we have the map back here. What you also see is we have some really generous design, really big elements and big fonts, and this is to help you. You have to understand, if you've never made a website, it's really, really, really hard to write content for a website. Most people have a lot of problems doing that. So what we really wanted to do is make sure that you have to write very, very little. And that's why we have really generously big fonts, nice decorative elements which take a lot of space but make it look nice, and things like this, okay? Now down here you will see this is still fake content, but this will be coming, from the intranet, okay? This is external content, everything up here is yours. So let me just show you a few more elements. We have the main navigation up here. It's important to understand that this thing is very important, and it shouldn't have more than 7 items on it. That's just like a rule of thumb, okay? Then up here, you have the system navigation, like JCIS Switzerland will probably be using it like for language swappers and things like that. But for your LOM, it'll just mainly be maybe a link to the intranet or things like that. Okay? So, by the way, big fonts also have one big advantage. Today we have all these mobile devices, and I mean, you guys know all this stuff too, right? It's very typical that people will be looking at this and on these tiny screens, and what you don't understand is that it's extremely hard to make a website responsive. That means that it really changes, because it wouldn't be hard if I was the only one adding pictures and adding text. Then it would be very easy. But because we have people like you who don't know anything about the internet, and you're adding text, and that has to change shapes too, it makes it very difficult. And by keeping big fonts and big pictures, we're actually making it much, much easier, because it'll still look good on tiny screens. Okay? So keep that in mind. Now, just some demo content that we have templates here, for example, that have large, nice pictures that resize automatically to fill the space with nice big titles. This is really cool, because you can just write 2 or 3 lines of text and it already looks great. Okay? We have templates here for content full width. We have templates with image rotators and things like that, just so it looks nice and it's very easy for you to make it look good. Or here, templates with image galleries, again, in the same look and feel of the website. So you'll see here too, it just fits the proportions of the website. It looks really nice. This is all prepared for you, and you can have all these templates completely for free. We'll look at more things later on. Some more examples, again, templates with content, picture. And a special thing that we added is templates for quotes. Okay? The reason's pretty simple. It's if you go out there and say, hey, we're this really cool club for active citizens, you know, and we're like the cool dudes, people will like think, well, yeah, you're just blah, 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 right? But if you can say, this person some famous person or even somebody not famous, it doesn't really matter, said this about us, like, it's changed my life, or I've benefited so much because I did this, or this is amazing what you did. If you quote somebody else, it's much easier, marketing-wise, to convince people that you're a really, really cool club. You can quote your members. You can quote famous people. You can quote anybody. Just make sure the quotes are real. Okay? But honestly, in JCI, I've met so many famous people, and they're always really excited about what we do. This shouldn't be too hard. Okay, what else do we have? Here's a special part. Content navigation. First of all, no drop-down menus, okay? So what you often see in websites is you move your mouse here and it goes down and you have this navigation. That's terrible, okay? First of all, people have a hard time using it. Then people with disabilities, like that can barely see, have a really hard time using it. And mobile devices, it's just nasty. What we did here is we created very, very, very large navigation things. So this page is actually just to go to a sub-page. Huge buttons, and this too is a template we just prepared. I don't have any pages prepared here yet, but it doesn't really matter. So you get the point. The cool thing about this is that if you have this on a little telephone, it'll still be easy to touch even if you have big fat fingers like I do. Okay? With this, we make it look nice, we make it feel great, and we make it work on mobile devices without investing any extra money. So this should really help you. Now, as a rule of thumb though, okay? Try to not make sub-pages or as few as possible. People nowadays prefer having long pages they can scroll down on than going to pages, read something, go back, go to another page, read something, go back, go to another page, read something, go back. We used to do that in the middle of the last 10 years. But that's kind of over. Nowadays people prefer having one topic on one page even if it means scrolling. Okay? Good. So that is the design. I hope you love it. We do. And thank you very, very much to Janine Studach from Pink Lemon who did all this for us. Okay? So let's go back to the presentation and continue with our topic. So we just were on this address. You're going to get a handout from Boris, things like this afterwards. So everybody's going to get a handout. Don't worry, you have all the important addresses here. There's way more infos coming, so don't worry. But this is where we just were. Now, oh, I just clicked that again. Never mind. The next thing you should know, but just give me a moment, I need to have a drink here. My throat's a little dry. The next thing you need to know is what you need to do to finally get your LOM website going. Just a second. By the way, have a drink yourself. Always helps to drink. In JC, fortunately, you learn to drink a lot. So I think that's not a big problem here. Okay, let's continue. How should you go on to get a LOM website that looks just like that? Here's the deal. The first thing you need to ask yourself is, do it yourself or get somebody else to do it for you? So we have at least 4 companies that would make this website for you as a LOM package. And in that case, they would just do everything for you. They would teach you how to change content, add pictures and things like that. And they would help you with everything and host it as well. That means hosting means they run it on the internet, so it's available, okay? Typical price range is $1 to $2 grand. And yeah, that's the easiest option, okay? Then there's always a do-it-yourself. Again, with different levels, but we're going to provide you with the complete template file, so all the technical things you would get from us for free. We'll see more details about that, but you would need to have somebody in your LOM that really knows the technical stuff. So if you do have that, and maybe you could even make a project team to create the website, and they would enjoy doing it, that would be a great way to go. And it would certainly be cheaper, but just be aware it's more complicated, okay? The second question you need to ask yourself is, are you going to work with our design templates, or are you going to make your own? We really recommend that you take the templates we just made. They're good, they're really clean, They've been through the entire OK process, so this is good. Okay. And one thing you must understand: if you use our templates, now we didn't do any responsive stuff yet, so we didn't do anything reshaping for mobiles, but it'll probably come next year or in 2 years. And if you use the standard templates, then you can almost upgrade to the newest edition for free. If you make your own, then you can make something more individual, and that may be appropriate maybe for a golf event or something, but often it isn't, actually. And you'd save a lot of time if you just use the standards, but you can do something. Just remember, you are in JCI, and please adhere to the standards, but you'd be completely independent. You could already do the mobile stuff, for example, whatever, but with all the extra cost. So we rarely recommend it, but it is an option if you really, really need it. So the third question you need to ask yourself is, what system will we be using? This question is important because you need to have normal people change pictures or add text. You don't want to always go through a very technical person, right? So that's actually normal nowadays. I'd just quickly like to give you a short demo what I'm talking about. Just for example, on this website, let's say I wanted to change something here. What I actually forgot to show you is the contact template. So let's look at these quickly. Here, for example, I have a template which shows where we are meeting every 3 weeks or so, with the Google Maps and everything. And this is kind of nice. And imagine you would like to change this text, right? And you don't want to pay a professional to do it. Or here, by the way, some other templates. Apologize for the pictures. This was just a quick fix. This is the current president, and we'd like to change his dress or something. Or here, you don't want to call a pro to do that. So in current modern systems, these are called content management systems. You can just log on. You just saw what I did. I'm still on the same website, but now I have like this bar where I have these things that I can do. And I'm just going to show you this quickly because all systems work more or less like this, and it's important that you understand this. This is really, really easy for you. Okay? So I've just said I want to change this page, and you see now I have some extra buttons appearing here. And let's say I would like to change something. So I would like to say this is not in Buchs at this place here, but somewhere completely different because got the wrong address, right? Now with a modern content management system, this is absolutely no big deal. I can say, well, this is something else. This is like at the anything. This is where my office is, for example. I can just change some things. I could like add pictures, and everything else happens automatically. The tool does it for you. And you must really understand this. You really want something like this, okay? Because like here, it changed it right here. It also changed it here. The pin is now somewhere else, so you won't know the difference. It's also changed it here. And in things like here as well, if I like want to take a different picture, this is all nowadays very simple with modern technology. So don't be afraid. These kind of systems, they're absolutely standard nowadays, and they all work kind of like this. You just say, I need to add this and this and this. For example, let's pretend I just wanted to add a completely different picture, like I wanted to add my Africa picture here. You'll notice also this picture is wide, so I need a square picture, but modern systems take care of this for you, don't worry. You'll just say, okay, this is the picture I want, and it'll do the same thing like Facebook. It'll just cut out the right parts for you, and you should be fine. Okay, so I just changed this picture here. You see? No big deal. Even you could do that. And this is a content management system. If you really want this for your LOM, and like the one you just saw here, this one's free. And most content management systems are free. So you really want something like this. And so that's the big question that you need to ask yourself. Do it yourself or not? What design and what system? The reason why this question is pretty hard is there are thousands of systems out there. Compared to the times like about 200 years ago, well, maybe 100, where like a lot of people made cars and there was no standard yet, that's what's currently happening with these systems. There's still so many systems out there. In the future, there will be fewer, but for now, right now, there's a lot. What I always recommend is use something popular. DNN is #1 on the Windows platform. Linux is WordPress. WordPress is certainly the most famous system at the moment. We work with DNN, and there's a lot of other ones as well. So my recommendation is use something popular, but we're not talking about such a big investment if we're totally honest about this. You're going to be spending 1 to 2 grand on your website, 1 to 2,000 francs. So if in 3 years you decide it was the wrong system, no big deal. For the intranet, for example, we have a much longer time scope, like 10 years at least. So there it was really important to only take something which is really stable and which we can really, really rely on that it'll still exist in 10 years. But for your LOM websites, it's not such a big deal, okay? So simpler is better. You don't need a very complex system. For example, do not try to use SharePoint. Bad idea. Other famous systems, for example, are Joomla, Drupal, Typo3, Concrete 5, etc. Some of the partners that we also have to recommend to you, they have their own CMS or not one of these top 10 systems. I just like to say that it doesn't matter that much. I'm sure all their systems will make you happy as well. So just take a look at those as well. Okay, and if they suggest that you use something else and you want to work with them, go ahead. No problem. Now I'd like to show you where you find all these informations that you need to continue, because it is up in this corner. Let me just get out of editing mode here just a moment. I'm just going to log out. It's trying to get me to remember the password. Second. Okay, let me just log out. Up here, you will find all the material you need to continue. So, you will find instructions and checklists. Pardon me, it's still all in German. I'll try to add some English stuff or maybe French, but working on that. The first thing you see here is a video explaining the screen design in more detail. I really recommend that you watch it. It really explains all these things you need to know about a website. It's 15 minutes of your life, but trust me, you will really benefit if you watch this, okay? Then, if you want to continue, exactly here, you have all these additional things you need. For example, we have a paper. This is this background infos here. Sorry, it's only in German, which more or less has the same stuff I just told you about in a bit more detail and text. Okay? Then we have a template here for creating a LOM website concept. So what did we do? Just so you understand what we're talking about, let me just move this into your screen. This is the concept we had for our LOM Liechtenstein and Württemberg, and we just wrote down our concept. Who's the website for, and what are our goals? What do we want to do with it? So if you just take this and replace the text with your goals and your visions and your ideas, your target audience, who is it for, and your structure, make a few notes what you want to put inside it. Basically, you can just copy all this stuff, and within an hour you have a great web concept just for your LOM. Okay? So just don't do everything from scratch. We spent a lot of time preparing things for you. Then what you have here is the Photoshop file. This is something for technical people. If somebody wants to make a completely new template for a different content management system, if you didn't understand that, just forget it. But if anybody wants that, it's right here. Then, let's look at the free stuff first. We sponsored this website that you just saw. You can download this for free right here in a few days. We're almost done. So if anybody wants to work with DNN, here you can find all the templates and you can just go ahead and start for free. Then a huge thank you for the LOM Burn. They sponsored the WordPress template. WordPress is the #1 system worldwide at the moment. Very simple, and they're sponsoring the template here, so you'll be able to download it here. Thank you very much, LOM Burn. Way to go. So, these are the two, let's say, free options to do something yourself. Remember, you need to be technically pretty good to do this, okay? This is not for your I have an iPhone kind of an audience. Okay. I do too, by the way, so nothing against iPhones. Then, here we have the partners that will support you in making a LOM package. And I would like to mention something very important before at first. I don't have a partner in the French part of Switzerland yet. Okay? If you know somebody or if you would like to partner up here, please just give me a call. Mon français est terrible, tu sais, mais c'est égal. We can speak English, right? I would love to have a French-speaking partner on this list. Some of the companies you'll see here can speak French too, but we know it might be nicer if we had a partner in the French part of Switzerland. So if you would like to do it for those LOMs, give me a call, okay? So first of all, we have Upload. Here we have more information about it. I'm a bit short on time, so we're not going to be able to go into all the details. They're in Olten. We have Convation in Thun, I believe. Convation is the company that's going to make the intranet. So they're supporting us, they're sponsoring a lot of there as well. And they too have a cool CMS called Contracts. More infos about it. Pink Lemon is Janine Studach, is the designer who made the design you just saw for this website and the content templates and all that. So she too would offer you a LOM package. So here's a link to her website and more infos to her offerings. And this is a Webstube. They're in Appenzell, I think. And they would create the website with Typo3, also one of the more famous content management systems. So on this page here, let me just scroll up again, LOM packages. You also have the link in the documentation you're going to be getting, right? In here, you will find everything that you need to continue. Now, it's not all in there yet. You've seen that as well. We're going to finish all the content for downloading in the next few days. And then the partners as well are going to start creating demo packages to show to you. So this is just the first info. And we'll send a mail around as soon as it's complete, which should be in the next few days. So back to the presentation. This is where we just were. Up here in the corner, you will find the link to the LOM packages. Now, I'd like to talk about the timeline, because timing is pretty important. What you have to understand is that Convation, that's the company that's making the intranet, is now working to get the intranet ready so we can go live at the end of this year. So let's start at the back here. 20th December approximately is when we will be going live with the intranet. This means that, let's quickly go back here, that approximately around the National Congress, you will get, the presidents and the vice president will get the okay to add next year's agenda, 2014, all the appointments into the new intranet. The reason why we're doing this is this. We're really on a tight budget, and if we would have to migrate all the data with the events and with registrations especially, who said he was going to be at that event. If we did that, if we had to migrate that data, this would become extremely expensive. Data migration is very, very hard to do. Well, especially on no budget. So this way, every appointment for 2014 is going to be in the new system and not in the current one. This is also important because since, you'll have events maybe already like middle of December or January, you need people to be able to register for them before 2014 starts. So that will happen around middle of November. We're going to give the okay for people to access the new intranet, in addition to the presidents. So that's kind of like the schedule that we're going through. And this means all appointments for 2014 will be in the new intranet. So if you want them to be shown on your website, you kind of need to have a new website too till then. So that's kind of the schedule. So this is today, more or less. And you kind of now have time till more or less the next few weeks to kind of figure out, do you want to do it yourself? Do you have a partner in the French part of Switzerland that could do it? Which design will you take, and like who's going to be in charge of it? And the goal would be that your website is ready at the very latest the end of this year. So that's the schedule. Okay, so more Q&A. I guess that doesn't make sense because you can't ask me something directly. Please use the opportunity to ask Boris. He knows a lot of this stuff, and if he doesn't, just give me a call, okay? No problem. Love to answer your questions. My contact data, again, is in the sheets, so no problem. Boris is now going to distribute the papers for you. Yeah, and I hope you loved what you just saw. We do. And so have fun. Thank you for watching this, and enjoy the rest of your meeting. Bye-bye. This was Daniel Mettler, 2SIG Internet Solutions.